Hello, this is Bastard, and this is my first attempt of podcast. I figured I'm gonna interview somebody that's most important to me, one of the most important people in my life, which is Elise Burgess, who is my best friend in this whole world. She's actually leaving Japan tomorrow after staying in here for how many years?
About 6 years.
And I drove her to the airport today, and we spent the night at the hotel. Then yeah, she's gonna be gone tomorrow. So this is my first episode. I'm not sure if I'm gonna publish this or not, honestly. Whatever happens, depends on what happens, what we're gonna talk about. I might not even publish it, but I figured it's a good chance to record something, even for like a memory. Is it kind of hot in here?
I'm comfortable, but
Okay, we can maybe turn on the
No.
aircon later. So, I'm eating cherries. I don't have any plan, any questions prepared. Anyway, how are you doing, Lise?
I will admit I'm nervous about the flight. Even though I will be in a very comfortable seat, I am always been kind of nervous about flying. I always have bad anxiety on flying. So I'm not really looking forward to the flight, but I'm looking forward to it being over.
Right. So you go into Korea and then transfer to the US.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll have a nice layover in Korea, but unfortunately not long enough to do anything. But then again, I think because of COVID, I wouldn't be able to really go sightsee or anything like that anyway.
I'm not sure if you can go out anyway.
No, I don't think I can. I think I'm stuck in the airport.
All right. So first of all, I know a lot about you, obviously, because we've been married and been friends for a long time. We had been married. But please tell me, let's say, where you're from, and what kind of child you are when you were little.
Okay, so I'm from a little bit of everywhere. I was always a tomboy when I was younger, and very playful, very kind of. I always got into trouble though, but I was always very nice. So it was very easy for my friends to get me in trouble, because I would go along with their ideas, but I was never really a snitch. So I would always get thrown under the bus and get in trouble.
Snitches get stitches.
Yeah, snitches do get stitches, so I never got stitches, at least. But I did get plenty of trouble.
What are you into?
I was mostly into animals in the sense that, and cartoons, but I didn't like people stories. I liked I didn't like stories about people. I didn't like Star Wars or
I don't like Star Wars either.
Star Trek or I didn't like fantasy or sci-fi that had to deal centered around people. I liked stories centered around animals. So a lot of old school Disney movies, Looney Tunes, cartoons. I was really into all kinds of cartoons. And live action that was more about animals than people.
At some point, you were animated or something like that. I forgot.
Yeah, I got my degree in 2D and 3D animation at college, but as you can see, I am not currently working as an animator, so some would say, rightly so, that it was kind of a wasted degree because it was so specialized. But to be fair, going there did allow me to make a lot of connections, and I actually got into the video game industry from
right.
my connections at college.
Mm.
So even though I never became an animator, and unfortunately a lot of the animation jobs were moved overseas by the time I graduated, and I didn't really want to go live in India.
India.
Yeah,
Why
a lot of animation jobs are being done in places like India, Singapore, South Korea, Australia, but they're extremely low paying.
I can imagine.
And they're very gig based. So you're kind of project to project, kind of a nomad going around. And so by the time that I graduated, all of the software and everything was obsolete.
Obsolete.
Yeah, it was no longer being used by the companies. And so I decided not to follow through with it. But I was able to start working in QA testing in the video game industry. So it wasn't a complete waste, I don't think.
Not at all. I see.
And I was able to pay off my student loan, so at least I don't have hundreds of thousands of debt still hanging over me with that. So
Okay.
I got lucky.
So you did that, and you also said you did government job, something like that.
Yeah, I've done software testing for the U.S. court system, so that was a government position. But as a contractor for the government, not an actual, like I wasn't in a politician or anything like that.
Yeah. Okay.
But I did have clearance. I never used it. But that was as close to politics as I got. But I don't know. It's almost kind of scary that people like me are testing the software used by the judicial system because it's a very, people don't realize just how simple a lot of these software programs are that are used for such important things in the government.
Okay.
So they're easy to break.
I see. Well, now you became English teacher in Japan, just to come to Japan, right? You didn't want to teach or anything like that, obviously.
It was never my passion to be a teacher. However, I thought it would be a very interesting adventure and a very good thing to try. And
just a challenge, right?
And it worked out really well. I learned really quickly, and I enjoyed doing it after a while. But yeah, I'm over it now.
You've been teaching for 6 years or something, and then at what point did you think it wasn't not for you? It wasn't for you.
About at the point when every day became the same.
Like how many years or something? I don't know.
I'd say about 2 years ago.
So 2 years ago. So after you stopped the public school teaching and went into Eikaiwa schools.
Yeah, the private teaching schools.
Okay. Private teaching schools
was about it. 'Cause it was just kind of the same thing every day.
Yeah.
And save some of those cherries for me.
Oh shit! Sorry, it's only 2 left.
It's only 2 left. Eating all the cherries.
Well,
How's wrong with you?
Alright. I'm not apologizing because this is not for anybody to listen to. I'm just doing this for fun, and maybe I'm not doing this for money. So fuck you if you actually no. I guess I appreciate if you're listening. I'm not sure who's listening. But...
Anywho, but yeah, every day just became the same, and it was, it's not that I didn't like my students or anything. It was no longer intellectually stimulating. And I have creative passions elsewhere. I would rather be a novelist or a writer.
I see.
So it was just one of those. I was no longer getting paid enough to be able to do a lot of the traveling throughout Japan that I was able to do before. And so.
Yeah, she's never been to Tokyo.
Yeah, 6 years in Japan, never been to Tokyo. But.
Which is kind of cool.
Well, I'd like to think that I went to the other places. It's kind of like the U.S. is not just New York City. As much as New Yorkers would like to make you I think so.
And California.
Yeah. And just like Japan is not just Tokyo, there's so much more to the country that I was able to see. So I don't really regret having Tokyo not been hit on the checklist, but that'll be a future trip for sure.
This might be the most interesting topic. I guess is that that you stayed in Japan for 6 years, and how you taught English in Japan. I guess I want to ask you about the cultural difference and stuff like that. I kind of already know what you would say, but for the record, I want to ask you a bunch of questions.
Okay, go for it.
As okay, it's an easy one, cause like you got whole sleeves tattooed, whole arms tattooed, so it's something different from what most of the people coming to Japan are doing. They wouldn't get the same experiences that you have now, I guess. So I want to ask about tattoos and Japan and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Well, when I came to Japan, I already had tattoos. I had a small piece on my wrist and an outline on my back.
The eels.
Yeah, the caduceus symbol on my back. But they were very easy to hide. But then I found a traditional tattoo artist here, and got traditional Japanese style coloring and filling for my back piece and full sleeves as well.
Yeah. In actually traditional method, the tapping method.
Yeah, he did do the tapping Irezumi method on one of the sleeves.
Just colors or lines too?
Lines and colors.
Oh, I see.
So, and after that, I've had to wear long sleeves even in the summer, which, is I accepted. I definitely worth it, but it can be a little weird. But
yeah, I mean,
but no one really thinks you're weird for wearing long sleeves in the summer. I noticed, because mostly women will completely cover themselves head to toe in the sunshine to keep the sun off their skin. They don't want to get a tan. So, and I mean, I've seen women riding their bikes looking like beekeepers because they've just got full sun hats. They might be beekeepers. You never know. Full sun hat, full sleeves, gloves, like no skin visible to the sunshine.
Yeah,
They're like
totally.
Vampires going around. So it's actually less weird here for me to have to wear a full burkini when I go swimming.
Scuba diving type stuff.
I look like Scuba Steve. Yeah, I have to wear full long sleeve swim shirts and long swim pants at all the pools and water parks, because tattoos are forbidden. Even if you can cover them up, if they know you have them, you're out. They'll kick you out. It's the same with gyms,
public onsen,
workout gyms, and hot springs, public baths,
theme parks, Universal Studio.
Universal Studios Japan was an exception.
Oh yeah, right. Nagashima Spa Land.
Nagashima Spa Land did not allow tattoos.
That was like a theme park combined with a water park.
Yeah, and even some beaches do not allow you to have tattoos.
Right.
So a lot of what they consider family-friendly spaces, they don't want any tattoos.
I see.
And of course, the obvious reason is because of the connection between the Yakuza and tattoo culture in Japan. And I've heard foreigners complain, well, obviously, I'm not a Yakuza member because I don't know how many white girl, white girl, whatever Yakuza members there are. But at the same time, I would rather them just say no one with tattoos than try to
Hmm.
guess,
Mm-hmm.
you know, whose
Right.
tattoos are on the level and who are not, and
Mm.
then discriminate based on that, because
Right.
that would just, yeah, I would rather just be a blanket rule even if it excludes me.
Mm. I see. That makes sense. I mean, I got used to like seeing like you like wearing long sleeves every day. I don't like. I was thinking like it's gonna be impossible for me to live without with tattoos in Japan if you want to get like sleeve tattoos, sleeves and well obviously like neck tattoos would be job killer anyway, but you kind of gave me hope that I might be able to do it. Like I just have to like, deal with the long sleeves
You just have to get the
every
right
day, and
layers and the right materials. I was wearing the Under Armour
so
heat gear in the summer to help me stay cool, because I
people wear that
overheat
anyway. Like
very easily, and then the cold gear in the winter. Yeah, you need to wear them in the winter anyway. So the winter's
well,
easy.
and also in the summer, like people like wear those like sport long sleeve stuff to protect from the sun or whatever. Like so, I guess I think it's not that big of a deal for me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna complain.
Now, I have been thrown out of a public bath before.
This is a good one.
I was with a friend from South Africa, and she herself has a small tattoo on her back,
Mm-hmm.
but not as covered as I am. And we didn't see any sign anywhere. Usually there's a big old sign with pictures and everything saying no tattoos. We thought we were in the clear. We got undressed, went into the area, showered, used the little showers, and then I'm up to my knees in the public bath, butt ass naked, because, you know, you don't wear swimsuits in the public baths. You're all nude. And I feel this woman tapping on my shoulder.
Oh yeah.
And I turn around, and it's a staff member telling me and my friend, who's already in the pool, the bath, that we gotta go. And so my friend pretends to not speak English because she speaks Afrikaans. And so she's speaking Afrikaans to the lady, and I'm like, it's time, the jig is up, we gotta go. So we go get dressed with as much dignity as we can, because it is kind of odd to be kicked out of a place naked.
Yeah, I haven't.
So we're in the changing room putting our clothes
Definitely.
back on, and my friend is just blowing up and yelling at everybody, really angry about it.
Giving all of you bad names.
Well, that's
In
the
my
thing.
opinion.
Well, that's the thing, is that there's no. I felt embarrassed and a bit humiliated, but more so from my friend creating a scene than from actually being, like, of course I feel a little ashamed, a little embarrassed, a little humiliated from being kicked out of a place and told to leave because of my tattoos,
right.
because of my body.
Right.
You're already kind of vulnerable standing there naked, you know, with people staring at you.
I see.
So for me, my best idea was to just, you know, quietly get dressed and, you know, walk out without a scene. Like, just, you know, dignified, leave, whatever, go to another place. Don't make a scene, not worth it. Just hold your head up high and be like, oh, excuse me, and then leave, you know.
Yeah,
The
I
staff
would do
members
that,
probably
maybe. I don't know.
the staff members probably didn't make the rules. They just have to enforce them.
Oh yeah, totally.
You know, it's probably not their decision.
Yeah, kind of.
But my friend did not agree and made a huge scene and was screaming at everyone, which unfortunately just reinforces the idea that foreigners cause all the problems, and that especially foreigners with tattoos cause problems.
Yeah,
And
I see.
so it kind of reinforces why they don't allow, like, certain places will in Japan say no foreigners, or certain places have rules against people with tattoos, thinking that all people with tattoos are troublemakers.
To be fair, most of them are.
So it just kind of, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. I mean, I thought by not causing a scene, maybe I would show them that, you know, I have dignity and whatnot,
Right.
but by causing a scene, it kind of just, you know, it just causes problems. It was not productive, is all. And so it just kind of made it all the more
And you guys just
a
left.
bit traumatizing. Yeah, we left and we went to a notorious public bathhouse
After that?
that is known for allowing people with tattoos.
Did you see a lot of people with tattoos?
Not in the women's bath, no. Maybe in the men's bath. There might be dudes with tattoos, but
Maybe.
all the other women there were tattooless.
Right. Like, my stance on this is that if you come to, like, if you come to the place that you know that people wouldn't accept, or at least gonna be hesitant to be more accepting of tattoos, fuck, I can't really think. Tattoos, and you can't really expect people to, like, accept who you are, like, all the time, and the attitude of just going into, like, somebody else's country and just trying to, like, act like you know everything and you have to, like, everybody else have to adapt to you is a little bit naive to me. But at the same time, like, people just, like, overreacting to, like, things like tattoos. I don't actually, like, I don't really care. Like, I think it's not their responsibility to, like, be accepting of anything at all. You don't have to do anything. So I used to think, like, well, that's just type of art, and it's beautiful artwork, and everybody should accept that, and otherwise you guys are just fucking, like, assholes. But now I think about it, it's just like, you don't have to, like, everybody judge each other, so I don't think you have to accept anybody. You should be, like, inclusive and nice, I think, but, like, just don't come into the country that you know people are gonna hate tattoos and just, like, complain that people, you know, don't want to talk to you or whatever. You can always find people who are open-minded and you just hang out with those people. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I agree that, you know, I wasn't expecting to be welcomed with open arms, nor do I expect people to just deal with it that I have tattoos. I mean, even in the U.S., some jobs you work, you got to cover your tattoos. So
Yeah, I didn't know.
I mean, it's just the way it goes sometimes. And so my whole thing was, I had no problem with it. We found out later that the bathhouse had a little sign that said no tattoos, but it was, like, hidden behind a plant or something.
Which is, yeah.
And it was using,
like,
the kanji that we couldn't read. Instead of saying tattoo, it was saying irezumi with kanji.
Yeah, right.
So, and that's our fault
that
also
sucks.
for not being able to read all the
That's
signs as well.
Yeah.
So we had plenty of responsibility for that fiasco.
Right.
And
were they like when they talked to you? Sorry to cut you off. When they talked to you guys, did they look scared, or were they, like, angry, or what?
The lady who was tapping me on the shoulder was extremely sweet. She
Oh,
looked
okay.
like the last thing in the world she wanted to do was ask anyone to leave.
Oh, I see.
Because that's just awkward for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's
She
an
probably
uncomfortable
wouldn't wanna-
situation. And she was very soft-spoken, very sweet. Like, we were not scolded. We were not
Oh, okay. Just trying to be
told
as polite
curtly.
as possible.
They
This
were
is our rule.
they were trying to be as nice as possible.
I see.
And it was almost like, I can understand. I would feel extremely uncomfortable if I had to tell someone they
Oh
had to
yeah.
leave.
You'd be scared.
Especially in that kind of situation where someone's, nude and like it's just I don't know.
Very specific
Maybe the
situation.
nude part doesn't make a difference in Japan, but at least for me, you're in a more vulnerable situation. It's more embarrassing because I have to go
Totally.
put my clothes back on. But
can-
yeah,
can't
they
really imagine.
weren't. There were these little ladies at the desk, and this dude came out when he heard the screaming.
Screaming. Oh, your friend.
Yeah, my friend, and
Oh god, I remember.
and she demanded an apology,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he apologized.
Oh, he did. Okay.
But she also wanted a refund. But because we used the showers,
Right.
we were not entitled to a refund.
I don't know what the fuck you can do.
I mean, it was $6. For God's sakes, like that's like a Starbucks trip or whatever. Like I'll get over it.
Maybe yeah.
If it was like $100 or something, then yeah, I'd have a serious problem. But
I mean, I might ask for like refund because you guys are fucking not showing the signs that says no tattoos. It's hidden behind whatever the fuck that was covering. So I wouldn't. Oh, I wouldn't scream, I guess.
well,
But
finally,
it's fair to ask for refund, I think, in my opinion.
well, finally, the
hurt.
dude threatened to call the police,
Oh.
and that's when we skedaddled. We got out of there.
Okay.
Because
Sure.
that was an escalation we did not need at all. So, but yeah, no one was rude, no one was mean.
Right.
They were firm in telling us the rules, and then finally when my friend was just being all out of control,
Right.
they had to threaten to call the police, but they didn't actually call them. All they had to do was threaten, and we were gone.
Fair enough.
It's unfortunate that it happened that way, but I can imagine if it had been in the U.S., I don't think the staff would have been as nice, honestly.
Yeah, I see. Now, do you think this is a different question, but related to tattoos and being foreigner in Japan? Do you think, being tattooed, or visibly tattooed, or being a foreigner, which made people, well, not all the time, but like uncomfortable. For example, we rarely get people sitting next to us on the train, and I'm not complaining or anything like that. It's just like is what happens if you are. I don't know. Like I'm not sure if you. I don't know which factor played more.
I think the tattoos plays more of a factor than the fact that I'm
Think
a
so?
foreigner.
Maybe okay.
I think because being a foreigner already is kind of being a bit exotic. And many people just, I don't know, it's a little weird for them to be around because they're just not used to seeing you. But then putting tattoos on top of that, and with the negative image of tattoos.
Also, you have a traditional Japanese tattoo.
Yeah.
Not like some flowers and
It just kind of compounds it. Yeah, I don't have like some anime schoolgirl or whatever, but
some birds flying away with
little
the infinity symbol,
some
and
feathers,
dream catchers.
roses, and a pocket watch. Nothing, none of that.
She has a. Sorry, go ahead.
No, my tattoos are not super original. It's just the style that it's in, Japanese style, specifically makes people nervous here because the
Totally.
the
Even
only
if you're a
people,
foreigner, I guess.
well, and the
Fair
only Japanese people that tend to walk around with Japanese style are Yakuza. Still.
Right.
It's changing now, I think, though.
Yeah, after I did the training at the tattoo parlor and for 6 months, which I got kicked out of. I realized I didn't know nothing about this thing. I just knew I wanted to tattoo and I wanted to do the American old school stuff. But all the people who came to the parlor, which was in the area that's famous for Japanese festival, like fighting festival, called Kenka Matsuri. They are famous for like you know, people having tattoos and they going to festivals once a year and all that. What was I going for? Oh yeah, what I realized is maybe it's just only in that specific area, but like a lot of people who came to that parlor getting tattooed, traditional Japanese, weren't nearly like not yakuza or anything like that at all. Maybe like some construction workers or some, I don't know. I don't know the occupations, but I was kind of surprised that they there were a lot of people who were just like had nothing to do with yakuza or anything like that,
Yeah, I think
which is kind of boring. But
it's becoming more popular with younger people. So
I have no idea.
the people who seem the most bothered by my tattoos are middle-aged and older.
Hmm.
So maybe more traditional
Hmm.
people, and of course the elder people, elderly people, are the most bothered by it. Little kids will stare at you just because.
Well, you first of all, you
Yeah.
gaikokujin, like eigo no hito.
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's an English person.
Plus, she has some drawings on her arms that's like foxes
Yeah.
and
So
shit.
little kids are just kind of in awe or or fascinated or even just terrified of anyone who's not their family members or who looks different.
Right.
But the only people who seemed actually legit bothered by my tattoos would be like elderly people.
And so, was that the only time that you felt kind of like violated? Not violated, I guess it was like a big scene. Nobody has anybody else kind of, let's say, went straight forward, like yell at you or something like that.
No.
Okay.
Never.
60 years.
Yeah, never. But I was also
I rarely hear
I was
that kind
also
of story.
really careful, especially after that,
Yeah.
to bring like little bolero sleeves that I could throw, like a little sweater that I could throw on my arms whenever we were going someplace that I thought might have a problem.
Right.
I was really on the lookout for any situation where it might not be welcome. But I mean, even when I was working at the school and we would do discussion lessons with my students about tattoos, most of my students didn't have a problem with tattoos. Of course, they didn't know I had any.
Oh yeah, just talk about it.
But just talking about in general, there was maybe only one student of mine
Really?
who was a university student who felt nervous about tattoos.
I like that honesty. I wonder if they were like just like lying their ass off or just trying to.
I don't know because they didn't know that I had tattoos, but they knew that the teacher before me did.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
they were used to it by then.
Okay, and they knew he had.
Yeah, they knew that he
okay.
had some tattoos.
Interesting. He also had traditional Japanese tattoo, like a sleeve.
Yeah,
Just
he had like a half sleeve or
Half
something on
sleeve.
one arm.
I think your tattoo the baddest. Like you have legit like Himeji Castle tattoo. She has a like one arm is like Himeji Castle themed, I guess, of spring, cherry blossom, and whatever. And what is that?
The Shachihoko.
Shachihoko.
Which Shachihoko it looks like a cross between a lion and a fish.
Yeah. Protectors of the castle when fire occurs.
Yeah, they're the little statues you'll see, almost like gargoyles.
They blow. They're supposed to like blow water out of their stomach or something like that. So to supposed to protect the castles from fire, whatever. But the left arm is covered by foxes and shrine torii gate, and actually torii gate has your name on it in kanji, which he kind of made up with three kanjis. Elise. pretty badass.
Which is a whole lot of writing just for one name. Kanji always made me laugh a little bit about like that, just because there will be really complex, complicated kanji that takes you about 20 seconds to write, and it just makes one sound like ah or something.
Totally. Well, it also good thing about kanji is that you know what it means without being able to read it. You can kind of guess what it is. Well, except for your name and stuff like that, because it doesn't really
That's
mean
true.
Anything.
I have a love-hate
Kanji.
relationship with kanji.
A lot of people say it's the most difficult thing you have to do when you're learning Japanese. I'm not sure. Do you agree?
I would 100% agree with that.
The most difficult, including speaking, listening, writing, and all kinds of stuff combined together. I think kanji is one of the most difficult things.
Absolutely, because, I've lived here for about 6 years now. I can speak Japanese. I can have conversations with people. But I still have trouble reading things. Like, I can read hiragana and katakana and simple things like that.
Right.
But many signs, like generic road signs and things like that, I've just learned to identify the kanji by looking at it, or the little symbols and all. But I can't
actually
read
Well,
it.
same thing. Like, sometimes I can't read kanjis, but I know, or I identify those letters with something, so I just know the meanings. So I guess, yeah, it just takes time, whatever. Like, if you're studying Japanese, I recently met this woman who's like, the kanji is her most confident element of her Japanese ability. The other thing, I forgot what she was saying. So I was like, I'm asking her how she studied the kanji. But anyway, I have a funny story to tell you guys. Actually, you can tell them about when you made a mistake about Ame-chan.
Oh, okay. So the worst mistake I ever made when I was learning Japanese.
Totally worst.
So there's a slang term here in the Kansai region, where they call candy ame-chan.
Ame-chan, yeah.
And so
Ame is candy and chan is like,
it's like a cutesy term.
When you call
candy.
kids and stuff.
Yeah.
Elise-chan.
So ame-chan, is candy. Excuse me. So yeah, I'm really tired. So
Not even an hour yet.
I was talking to my Japanese teacher, and I had you and another male friend of ours sitting with me, and the next day we were going to be making candy. And so my teacher asked me, "What are you going to do tomorrow?" And I said, "Well, me."
Let's call him Tatsuro.
Tatsuro. Okay, so me, Tatsuro, and you. And I said, "We're going to make Akachan." Well, that's the wrong thing. The Ame-chan is candy. Akachan actually means baby. So I told my teacher that the two men and I were going to make a baby the next day.
Yeah, I think it was like your teacher asked you, "Hey, Elise, what did you do yesterday?" Or something like that.
What are you going to do tomorrow?
What are you going to do tomorrow? Okay, I kind of changed the story. What are you going to do tomorrow? Like, we're going to make a baby. Well, I changed this story. I tell this to everybody. For some people, I changed this to I'm going to eat babies, because it's not really. It's an adult content. With some kids, like when I tell my brother something like that. But it's a funny one.
Needless to say, my Japanese teacher was quite surprised, and I had to quickly correct myself and remembered, oh, wait, what I mean was Ame-chan.
I'm bummed out that it was just you like tutor. I wish it was like just random person you're talking to, and you didn't get to fix that or something.
Well, another friend of ours, she wanted to get hand lotion and body lotion at the store.
Uh-huh.
And so she kept asking the people who
Okay,
work
that
there
one.
for lotion,
Mm.
not understanding that lotion here is more like what they call lube, not, whereas like body lotion or hand lotion they call hand cream.
Mm.
So you want to ask for hand cream, not lotion. So
See, like-
it's a little embarrassing for
I-
the staff to be asking, very enthusiastically by our friend where the lube is.
Do you want the lotion? See, like I didn't know that. Like I mean, I maybe I knew it, but like I forgot about all about it. But yeah, those things are funny. Like I work at the very famous tourist place, and I see all these like, well, pre-COVID, I used to have all kinds of people coming from around the world, all around the world, and they have funny like Japanese t-shirts and tattoos, obviously. But like I also see Japanese tourists and some Asian tourists that's wearing like funny like English t-shirts too. The best one I had was the dude. I think he's like a. I don't think he's Japanese, but he's some kind of Asian guy, and he was like, he was wearing this white shirt, and when he squatted down, he had this big like bold thick letters on his back, and he said, what did he say?
I've already forgotten it.
All right. Okay. No sexual service.
No sexual service.
Yeah.
I kind of want that.
I want to,
T-shirt.
and also that's not even my favorite guy. I had this guy wearing shirt. I think he knew what he was wearing. I think he's Chinese, and he was wearing a shirt. That was a logo of Back to the Future, the movie, and he said "fuck to the world." I was like, I like that.
Yeah, you find all kinds of really great English, as we call it, shirts here. One of the best places to go is a store called WeGo. WEGO.
There we go.
WeGo.
Now we're talking.
And they'll have entire paragraphs of nonsense written on shirts.
That's like the
just-
store that high school kids go.
Yeah, it's, if anyone out there visits Japan and you want a shirt with incorrect English or just English that maybe is correct in the strict technical sense, but in context makes no sense, go to WeGo. And you'll find t-shirts where they get real philosophical. With
Sounds
it.
deep.
There'll be life lessons printed on a t-shirt that's supposed to be deep, but it actually makes no sense.
That's
There'll
the
be
best.
like find happy smile in your day, for tomorrow is just a good dream while you taste life, and laugh. Like it'll be some.
That's not even bad.
It's like they almost. You're so close.
Mm.
You're so close, and it's just not quite.
Honestly, I'm enjoying like one of the things I enjoy after I got to speak English better is like finding people's mistake on both sides, like Japanese and English, and I can just like, yeah. Fuck, I was gonna say something. Is your phone charged?
It's 99%. Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. You can unplug it if you want.
Okay.
It's like easier.
I will.
Fuck, I was gonna say something. I was gonna ask you something. I'm a bad podcaster.
Yeah, you are. It's okay.
I appreciate your honesty.
I may be a bad interviewee.
Have you been interviewed before for something at all? Anything at all?
Maybe in the past, but I can't remember exactly right off the top of my head. I used to be a DJ for a local radio station. I lived in this tiny little ski town in Utah in high school, and
Okay.
I would host a little radio show
Oh, this is in high school.
in high school. Yeah, so I was supposed to be good at this, at talking into the void, but probably not.
Yeah, it's also like hard to just like talk while you know you're being recorded. Like my head is kind of like blank right now.
My head is usually kind of blank. I'm also just trying to make sure, going through the checklist through my head every 10 minutes of
The flight.
passport, negative COVID test form, attestation of negative COVID test form.
She's
check.
she's negative, by the way.
Yes, I'm negative. I'm very negative.
Oh yeah, I was gonna talk about like the South Park scene one of my favorite scene that's related to Japanese. If you guys watch South Park, one of my favorite one is the when the who's that guy Lou Kim
And
when he goes
Shunichi Takayama.
Takayama. I'm pretty confident in my what's the word? My impression of them. South Park really does great job doing like Japanese accent. I don't know about Chinese accent. They sound natural. When when they go to like South Park elementary school, the Liu Kim is like, how's it go?
He's like, Ni hao ma, South Park Elementary.
Yeah. Ni hao ma, South Park Elementary. Konnichiwa. Did you know? Everyone, did you know China and Japan, 2 different countries? Oh, really? That's right though. If you look on the map, you can see it. And he goes, yes, as you can see, this huge country is China and this little bitty country is Japan. And that's why they always try to take over China. What? What was that?
I can't remember the rest of it.
And he goes on about how Japanese people raped Chinese people during the war. And
Oh yeah, and they killed themselves.
oh yeah, he's like, the only thing they like to do other than killing us is to kill themselves. Fuck you. Well, I like doing this impression.
See, you're really good at it now.
Because I'm Japanese and I know, I don't know.
And you can get away with it because you are Japanese. So
See, like that's okay.
I cannot do those impressions and
You can.
and get away with it as easily.
Well,
And I don't think I'd be as good at them, to be honest.
I like it when my friends do like all these racist accents because it's funny, and I know they're not trying to, they're just trying to be funny, and it doesn't bother me.
Well,
So,
even
I
in
love-
South Park, Liu Kim, the Chinese guy, it turned out in a later episode he was a white guy pretending to be with multiple
The
personalities.
psychological
Yeah.
psychologist, something, some kind of doctor.
Yeah, he was also a psychologist and
favorites.
also like a little boy and
Yeah, borderline personality disorder, something like that.
he had
Was it
multiple
different?
personalities.
Multiple personality.
So
That's different
what
than
is that?
this.
Dissociative identity disorder, I think, is the psychological term.
Another episode that I like of South Park that's related to Japan is Tweak and Craig, when two kids, Tweak and Craig, who are not supposed to be gay, some Asian kids start drawing them as gay couple. A gay couple.
Boys love.
Boys love yaoi. I didn't fucking know like what yaoi was until like my Western friends started telling me like, you guys have like this porn stuff, and like I didn't know, like I didn't know any gay people at school, because like people here very homophobic, and I guess like we have same amount of whatever the percentage how many people turn gay turn out to be gay, you know, like in the whole population. But I think it's harder for you to come out as something like that in Japan. So I guess I just didn't know. But it's hard, like I didn't even know that that thing existed and it was famous even. And when I was in Canada, this guy, shout out to the band Cross Dog from I forgot, Peterborough or something, Ontario. And these guys, I got like really close to these guys because after the show I talked to them. He was cool and stuff. And next show he came to Toronto. He was like, "Hey everybody, this is our first fan." Literally, I was like the first fan in Toronto, and he was like, "And he's from Japan." Everybody's like, "Hmm," and he was like, "Yeah." Yeah, you guys have weird porn and stuff. And I was like, I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. And I talked to him afterwards, what are you talking about? And he, at that time, it was the first time I heard, and I was like 21 or something. And that was the first time I heard that Japan was famous for porn. Like, tentacle ones and something weird. I had no idea. I have never seen this. And I had no idea what he was talking about. And all the bukkake stuff. I didn't know what the
Yeah,
that meant.
That was.
This podcast is gonna be plus 18.
Yeah, this would be demonetized in a heartbeat, I think. But yeah, I remember coming to Japan and seeing like an udon shop, and one of the options was bukkake udon.
It's just mountain potato. What's the not slice? It's like a ground.
Yeah, sliced
ground.
Potato.
Not sliced. It's like
grated.
Grated mountain potatoes. Yamaimo. That slimy texture. You guys made everything sexual. Like we didn't mean it.
We ruined it. Yeah. Well, because
or
the
hentai
only
stuff. Hentai doesn't mean. Well, I don't give a fuck. Actually, who cares?
Well, okay. So to be fair, Japan didn't export grated mountain potato udon to the U.S. What they did export was porn, that was, has become...
Basically like gangbang.
Basically. So, I'm pretty sure if Japan had actually exported its cuisine in that area, then maybe that word wouldn't be associated immediately with weird porn.
I'm telling you, how I learned, like, I know all these, like, porn terms because I learned English from punk rock, South Park, Trailer Park Boys, and porn. Of course, from elementary school and middle school, high school education too, but
I want to say that's like the worst place to learn English, but also in some ways the best place to learn
that
English.
makes me very unique and makes people laugh.
I mean,
I use that
because it's almost like you're learning English that other Japanese people don't know.
Yeah. Also, I had a bunch of different friends from all around the world, so I would use like words like fucking, I don't know, kindi or flat, like Aussie, Brits stuff, and also of course Canadian stuff. I still don't even know what Canadian accent is like, except for really like the ones that stand out. Like I just said that about or
you say
something. Cheers. I think it's Aussie thing. I'm not sure.
Aussie and I think British as well, but I wish Americans said cheers. I like that, cheers. And I wish we said mate. That's
also,
right.
you guys hate the word cunt.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit more sensitive in the U.S. than I guess it is elsewhere.
I say cunt.
You
love that word.
I've kind of gotten used to it. It doesn't really... I mean, I call people that.
I do call people too, which is a bad thing if you're still learning the language, but who cares? Well, it doesn't show. Whatever. I can talk for hours, but you seem really tired.
I'm sorry, I keep yawning.
this is mostly like just practice, honestly. Like I'm trying to interview. I'm not sure how many of you are listening, but I have so many cool friends that I've made over a decade. Sorry, this is supposed to be about you,
That's fine.
but I'm talking about. I have so many of you that I want to interview. So obviously, I made a lot of friends in the process of learning English, because how I learned English is that, well, like I said, I watch a lot of stuff and listen to a lot of music too, but mainly I'm very thankful and so grateful for my friends, because I learned most from talking to you guys. And I'm saying you guys because I am assuming only people who listen to this are my friends. Shout out to every one of you. Yeah, I mean, I have a very interesting friends that I'm so grateful of having. What would you say was the most difficult thing that you had to go through in Japan?
The most difficult thing, I would say, there's a certain amount of dependence you have as a foreigner in Japan. See, I'm not fluent in Japanese, but even if I could speak perfect
Okay.
Japanese, I still don't know all 2,000 plus kanji,
It's
you know?
words.
So everything is a process. Getting an apartment is a process.
Oh yeah.
Getting internet set up is a process. And it all...
If you're trying to get in Japan, watch the fuck out.
Everything requires so much paperwork,
Right.
legal paperwork to go
Yeah,
through,
yeah.
and a lot of very complicated processes that, unless you are native level Japanese, including all the kanji, it's really, you kind of rely on someone else to help you.
I think so.
You need, at least in
That's
my
true.
experience, I have needed Japanese people to help me so much. And I'm usually a very independent person. I like not having to rely on other people. So it was very humbling. You feel kind of helpless in some cases.
Yeah.
So,
true.
and I'm really grateful for everyone who's helped me, and I really appreciate it. But it was definitely kind of a rude awakening of just how much I relied on, I needed
Powerless.
help, because, you know, and of course, you know, people are like, well, you should learn the language if you're moving to the country. Agreed. But even on top of learning the language, the kanji are a whole nother part of learning the language. And even people who speak English as their first language, it's difficult to read contracts and to understand what we call legalese.
Oh yeah, I freak out all the time.
So even if you're fluent in a language, going through legal contracts and all can be very stressful. So if it's your second language, even more so. So, and legal contracts and stuff are everywhere here. Everything has red tape. Everything is a process, as they say. So that was probably the hardest thing for me. And of course, people are very patient with you. People are very helpful, you know. So I wasn't made to feel bad about it, but it was very humbling, because as someone who's usually quite independent, I became very dependent on people to help me. So that's going to be a big adjustment when I get back to the U.S. is doing everything myself and not having to, okay, when do you have a day off? Can you come with me to the city office to do this? Okay, can you come with me to the bank to help me, you know, do an international transfer, you know, and sign these papers and everything. Now it'll be just me doing it.
Do you think it's different from let's say Japanese people going into America with same amount of I guess the same level of English, and become dependent on American citizen?
I don't think.
Something special about Japan? Or just personally, you just felt that way?
I don't know because it's English. I think is much easier to learn than Japanese
I agree.
because it's easier to read.
Yeah, true. There's only
Because
one alphabet.
So I mean, of course, there's plenty of legal vocabulary that you would need to know that maybe you might not know.
You can look it up easily.
Yeah. Whereas kanji here is like, even if I know the vocabulary, if I don't know the kanji, I can't read.
I know.
I can't read the
That's-
word that I already know on the paper.
That's what I
If
recently.
that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's what I recently noticed. Sometimes, like, I don't even know the kanji, and even I don't know the kanji, and I try to look it up, but I don't know how to read it, so I can't look it up.
Yeah.
Like, how do I look it up if I don't know how to read it?
Yeah.
So I have to type something that's, I just pure guess.
Yeah.
That has, okay, this kanji has this part that's in a different kanji that reads K, so this might be K, but no, this may be Kai or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So.
Well, good luck if you're learning kanji.
Now, this may just be my bias, but I think Japanese customer service generally, I think, is better than the U.S. Just because. That's right, I said it. Because
Superior.
there's just an attitude about it. You know, people will go the extra mile to actually help you.
Right.
Although customer service here requires a certain type of speech, the formal speech.
Yeah.
And
Keinego?
and if you haven't
Keigo.
learned Keigo, the formal speech, and you just need them to really dumb it down for you, it's difficult for them to do because they're not allowed to speak to customers
No,
informally.
Yeah, it's yeah, it feels weird.
So
too.
that creates a language barrier.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
But generally, patience-wise, they're more willing to work with you. Whereas I feel in the U.S., you're a little bit more on your own, I think. Because I think a lot of customer service stuff, like on the phones and all, aren't even Americans. Our call center stuff is overseas.
Oh yeah.
And so there's limitations to how much customer service you can actually get. But I don't know. In my experience, customer service in the U.S. is bad, and there's an impatience. So so maybe an immigrant who's trying to figure it out and all, I don't know that there'd be the same level of patience helping them out.
Right.
But that could just be my bias. Because
Yeah,
I have not been an immigrant to the U.S. before, so I wouldn't know that that form.
In general, I think people are nicer. Not nicer. I guess polite.
Yeah,
But
there's
like,
a difference
right way.
between being nice and being polite.
'Cause,
So, I mean, for all I know, this person at the bank could help me out perfectly sweet and then cuss me out when I walk out the door for being a know-nothing foreigner. Who knows? But at least for those moments that I'm there as a customer being helped by them,
right.
any frustration or anything is not shown. So it kind of keeps the stress level down, which is very helpful. Like, I get stressed if I can tell someone is losing their patience with me.
I'm by no means big patriotic. I've never been a fan of Japan. But, yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate. But one thing I always still think, is that people in Japan are generally polite, not because they're respectful, but they're supposed to be white. Polite. I said white. Polite. Not necessary because they respect. And when I was in Hawaii and when I was in Canada, what I felt was people polite and also respectful, because I can tell they're not just going like they don't talk like reading script. So I can tell, like when I was in Hawaii, I was so shocked how nice people. I guess Hawaii might be different from the mainland, the United States. Also Canada is different too, I guess. But people just generally, like my experience with people outside Japan have been very positive. So, but even so, I think customer service is better here. And if you're just working, you don't really have to like respect or whatever. You can just be polite and that's it. It's fine.
The only proof you need is just go to the drugstore and ask a staff member here, where is this product?
Mm.
The staff member will personally walk you
No, they don't do that?
down the aisle and point out the product to you, which always makes me feel a little stupid, but I appreciate that they do that. They actually show you and will escort you to the product you're looking for.
Not in the US?
The US, if they know where it is, they'll just tell you, aisle 5.
Yeah. Which is...
and then you go and walk.
I think that's enough.
And in many cases, that is enough. But there are some cases where...
Yeah.
And then maybe I just appreciated it more here because I couldn't necessarily read everything. So maybe the product was obvious to me, but maybe I couldn't read the label correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wasn't sure. And having the person point it out to me showed me, oh, this is the right product. This is what I'm looking for. Whereas in the U.S., I don't need that kind of confirmation of this is the right product.
Right.
I just need to know where in the general vicinity it is.
Something related to that I thought was funny after I came back from different country is when they package, when they wrap products like condoms and tampon and stuff like that too.
Tampons. Mm-hmm.
Like in a black bag, it's like something to be ashamed of.
Or in a little paper bag.
Little paper
bag, and they'll put it inside your plastic bag. So they wrap those in separate. Here, they wrap those in separate little bags, keep them separate from your other products, and put it inside there.
I fuck. What's the deal? Like, what's the big deal? I fuck. We fuck. We all fuck. Get over yourself.
I was purchasing condoms once at a Walmart in the U.S. late at night, and the cashier who was scanning them told me that she was so grateful to see young people using protection. And that she hopes
too much.
She hopes that her granddaughter uses good judgment like that too. Like, it's just, that's a one-off, of course. Not everyone is like that, but it was
actually, that's kind of nice. Making small talk, I like that.
It was funny. Cashiers will talk to you.
Yeah,
I know people who will talk to cashiers like, "How are you doing? How is your day going?"
Yeah, that's a weird thing about like sorry, go ahead.
You'll have conversations with strangers,
which is kind of nice to me because I like people and love talking to people, and it's kind of hard to talk to strangers. Not really. I guess if you're ballsy enough, you can just go ahead and talk. Who cares? But it's not like common, so I kind of like that. I liked that in Hawaii, which was the first place I went outside Japan, and this kid was walking towards me, and I didn't think he was going to talk to me, but he just kind of waved at me and gave me a sign like a what's this?
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. He gave me thumbs up, and I was like, I didn't know he was talking to me, so I kind of ignored, I guess, and he was like waiting for me to react, and I gave him a thumbs up, and he was like, yeah. That moment, I was like, oh, this is shit. That doesn't happen in Japan. Especially with kids. I love kids, but if I make funny face or whatever, like do, things to make them laugh or whatever, like most of them just free. I'm not sure if it's the same in the U.S. Is it just kids thing or is it just a Japanese kids thing?
Maybe it's a kids thing. I'm not
Okay,
sure.
it's a kids thing. Then fuck you guys.
I don't know. I'm not. I don't. I've had more experience with kids here than I have in the U.S. So.
Yeah, because you teach kids.
And I don't pay attention to kids usually in my
I
home
love all
country.
kids. Not like weird way, but want to make them laugh and stuff.
Yeah.
One of my favorite joke of P.L.A.P.A is when he comes out in the beginning of the stand-up special. He's like, settle down, thank you. I'm sick of pedophiles. Because he likes kids and he likes making them laugh and he likes making funny faces at them. But I don't know what year that was filmed. But these days, like all these pedophiles, making it hard for us, just normal people. That he used to pat them on the head and hey, how you doing, kids, or whatever. But now people be like, is that a sex offender?
Yeah. Bill Burr is awesome.
P.L.A.P.A is one of my favorite comedians. One of the things, okay, I gotta mention this. One of the things I do these days is to watch stand-up comedy, which is fucking like, thanks to you, I wouldn't have discovered that passion if you didn't introduce me to Sebastian Maniscalco. That changed my life. Like that was the whole thing. We don't have stand-up comedy. We have comedy which is similar. We call it manzai, and some people do sketches too. But we don't have stand-up comedy because in Japanese it doesn't really work well. So stand-up comedy to me is like the fucking like the quality craftsmanship of the product of high skill, like talking and all the timings and stuff, and you have to be right on. You have to be really good at obviously talking and composing, making jokes and stuff like that, but also like all kinds of craftsmanship involved to make yourself funny. But anyway, my biggest passion recently, past few years, it's been stand-up comedy, and it's because of Elise. So I have to thank her for that.
You're welcome.
Who's your favorite comedians, by the way?
My favorite comedians are Brian Regan, Sebastian Maniscalco is also very good. I like Jim Gaffigan. I'll say it, Jeff Foxworthy.
I forgot that person.
And I like
Do I like him? Jeff?
I don't know if he's as funny to you. Like I'm from the South, so the redneck humor is funny to me. But I think Brian Regan is probably my all-time favorite. And there are other comics that I really like as well. That I can't quite remember at the
Alright,
moment.
I want to ask you more about stand-up comedy. Let me go to the bathroom. Don't stop the recording. You can talk alone.
Okay, so hello, Void. I'm gonna talk alone while he's using the bathroom. So let's see. Stand-up comedy. So I really like Brian Regan. I mentioned that. Jim Gaffigan, I mentioned that. Crap, who else? I like Joe Rogan's stand-up. But see, Sinbad. I really like Sinbad's comedy. I really admire the people who can do clean comedy and make it really funny. Like, I don't mind unclean comedy. I really don't mind dirty jokes and, offensive comedy. But the stuff that really gets me cracking up is clean comedy. Because I think I don't know, and it seems a lot more difficult to pull off. So
it is definitely difficult.
I have a lot more respect for clean comics that do really well.
Brian Regan is like, well, I don't know everything about comedy, but Brian Regan is apparently known as like one of the best of clean comedy, and I agree about the. I agree that Sebastian Maniscalco is one of the best that I've seen, at least. Actually, I don't know many clean comedy comedians. Brian, Reagan, Sebastian.
Sinbad's one of
the
my
other.
favorites, but
I might not know that guy.
you're not as familiar with him.
My favorites are Louis C.K., P.L.A.P.A, Brian Reagan, Sebastian Maniscalco. I used to like Joe Rogan's stand-up, but now not really. Also, yeah.
I like Kyle Kinane.
Kyle Kinane. Shout out to Kyle Kinane.
Kyle Kinane and Roy Wood Jr.
Roy Wood Jr. He's a bit woke, but he's pretty funny. He's really funny.
Those two, I think they're clean comedy as well.
Roy Wood, yeah.
For the most part.
What was the first guy again?
Kyle Kinane?
Kyle Kinane's not clean.
Not?
No, he's not at
no,
all.
not really. You're right. But anywho, but I think those two are probably my favorite, like up and coming.
Yeah, definitely agree. I always talk about this, but I like comics who, well, generally speaking, I like comics who don't laugh at their jokes or don't waste time like laughing and earn some time laughing, you know. Bilbo does laughing, but it's really funny, so it's something different. And Roy Wood Jr. never laughs. Do you realize?
Yeah, he never laughs at his own jokes.
And his like just face is just funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like the shock face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think not only is it very difficult to do clean comedy, it's difficult to do it well. It's difficult to not, to keep, even when you find your own jokes really funny, it's difficult, I think, to keep the show going. So
also, I think stand-up comedy is like it's like because I like drawing, I like playing music and making music, so it's kind of in the same category as those things. If you perform, like, you are drawing things, like I used to I draw something to make me feel better. Like if I'm angry, I draw something about like if I want to murder somebody, I would draw something that's murdering that person or something like that, just example. And if I'm playing music, I would write song. Like you have lyrics, so you write just direct words and you know what you're talking about. And comedy is kind of like that. Like you can get away with it. Like you can say whatever the fuck you want and you can say that's just a joke and you can get away with it. So I thought this is the perfect thing. This is amazing. Like this is my shit. So my dream is to I want to be a comedian eventually. You can't do it in Japan, obviously.
Well, why can't you?
Demand. There's not much demand in it. Well, I want to do it in English, because that's totally a different thing if you do that in Japanese. And
could you do it in Japanese though? Like I know there's not a lot of it happening right now, but could you make it a thing?
Well, maybe that's just an excuse that I say I can't. But it's just I don't think it works the same. Maybe I can find a way to make it work, but it's like how English is structured. What structured?
Mm-hmm.
Constructed. The sentence is made. You have like punchline and stuff like that. What about the joke you want to make? In the end, then you can build up. Eventually, so you know what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
You build up to the point that you can drop that bomb. But in Japanese, it's kind of difficult, I think, and I wouldn't be able to go with the same kind of when I speak Japanese and English, it's kind of different vibe or whatever. I don't know how to.
You could always give it a try, though. I mean, they make Japanese rap music.
Which is the worst. If
I
there's
am.
actual hell, they play Japanese reggae. So if you, I love reggae and ska and rocksteady, but if you make Japanese reggae, go kill yourself, because that's the worst music I've ever heard. So, yeah, I'm not taking that back. Fuck you. Japanese hip hop is the worst too. If you like Japanese hip hop, no offense, but it's just fucking, I can't stand. It's unbearable. Japanese rock, I guess that works. It's not my cup of tea, but it works kind of. But hip hop and reggae and all that, like.
But the fact that it exists, you could.
Oh yeah.
You could try
Of course I can try and do it. I'm making an excuse maybe. But I want to do it in English because that's what all my stand-up heroes doing.
See, that makes sense.
It's more for me. But anyway, I want to ask all the questions before you leave Japan that must, that's, what's the word? I forgot the word.
Riddles?
Relative? Not relative.
Related to?
Well, okay.
Just ask the question.
Let's see. What is your future plan? Well, it might stress you out to talk about.
My future plan.
Oh yeah, she has a. So fuck it. Go ahead. Sorry.
My future plan is to, well, I want to be a horror and thriller novelist. So I want to write scary stories and publish horror and thriller stories. I want to do something to do with horror or something spooky. So I'm also thinking of trying to set up a YouTube channel called the Midnight Pizza Society.
Midnight Pizza Society.
Where pretty much about the premise is just kind of getting together late at night, ordering junk food or like pizza and telling spooky stories or talking about, true crime or paranormal stuff, something spooky with the ambiance of just hanging out with your friends late at night, eating junk and trying to scare the crap out of each other. But I've still got a lot of things to work out with it and figure out, but that will be in the works. I might make a weekly podcast with it, where I talk about with a co-host or a guest host or something, different spooky subjects, or I might do, as I gain an audience, I might try to start a spooky or like a thrills and chills type book club. So something like that. I have to narrow it down a little bit and pick a starting point. But that's kind of my future plan, is to save up money, try to not be broke.
You owe me a lot of money.
Try to not be broke, and get something off the ground eventually with my passion, which is scary themes
Writing.
and horror and stories.
You've been working on a book for a long time.
Yeah.
I hope
I'm working on I was working on a trilogy
successful.
for a long time. I finished the first book and I'm almost finished with the second book, so I'm hoping to get that finished before I die. And I've also got other horror and thriller stories in the works that are shorter, they're not as complicated, that I'm hoping to publish.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully I'll be able to make some magic happen.
Sounds great.
And not come up with excuses.
What? Okay, I wanted to ask you this. So are you tired?
Yes.
Obviously. So, I'm still talking because I love talking. I don't want to end this podcast, but maybe I should soon. What's something that you gained from all these 60 years of staying in Japan?
Something that I gained?
Yeah. What's accomplishments or something that positive that came out of this?
One of the greatest adventures of my life. One of the greatest life experiences. I have seen so many amazing places. I've met so many amazing people. Obviously, I've met my bestest friend here, you. I've seen, architecture and natural wonders that, I can't see back home. I got to experience a different culture. I got to. It has always been a goal of mine to live outside of the U.S. for at least 1 year, to get a different to get a different perspective on the world, and I was able to do that and then some, plus extra.
Sick.
And I have no regrets whatsoever about coming to Japan. I would do it again in a heartbeat. And I hope to visit, because there are still many things I want to do in Japan. And there are still a few places I want to visit. And of course now there are people I want to see again in the future. So hopefully I'll be able to come back and visit in the future.
Like you had such a unique experience, in my opinion. Because how many people would come to Japan, get a new job, and get married to a Japanese guy, and be a part of actual Japanese family, and then, well, it fell. You get a divorce, and well, this is such an adventure. You didn't go to Tokyo. Most people I know stay here for like a year or something, and then they stuck in the bubble with the other foreign friends. And do just traveling, which is nice too, but you had such a unique experience with Japan, and I think that's priceless, and not many people can have that. That's cool.
I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna wrap this up. Is there anything that you want to say, which is a lazy fucking thing to say in the end of the podcast, which is so cliche for every interview? But I'm not professional. I don't know. Is there anything that you want to say to me or somebody who's listening to this, who might be listening to this, or I don't know?
To anyone out there who is listening, I cannot recommend coming to Japan enough, even if it's just for a trip, a vacation, even if it's just for a week or something. There's so much to experience here. There's so much to see. It really broadens your horizons. And I think I've grown a lot in the last 6 years. And I want to say to you, thank you very much for having me on your first test podcast.
And the first test wife.
Yeah. First test marriage.
Which was nice.
Yeah. And I hope this will not be the last time we podcast.
I don't know about that.
Thank you.
Just kidding.
That's it.
All right. Whoever listened to this, thank you. And I don't know. It might be your turn next time. So be prepared for whatever. Bye.
Bye.